Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 7 Minute Spotlight. My name is Steve Crawford, and we're here to share some stories, ideas, and concepts about things that will motivate us, encourage us, and inspire us in our everyday life. And today I want to talk about a topic that is really a hot button these days, and that's what's going on with AI and how it's impacting the job market. And I want to look at it from the aspect of not that it was AI, but what has happened to different jobs in the past. Now, if you're going through a job situation where your job is in jeopardy, or maybe you even lost it because of AI, this job or this talk is not intended to just say, oh, everything will be okay. No, there's something that you really have to do for yourselves. And we really encourage people to get the skills, get the training, have the persistence and the fortitude to just keep forging ahead and find the next thing that's there for you. But the loss of jobs because of the advancement of technology has been going on for a long time. Now, that doesn't help you if you've just recently lost your job. But I want us to realize that this is kind of very subtle, and it's a response to something. Back in the 1800s, for example, all towns, period, had what was called a blacksmith. And the blacksmith was basically they were the hardware store, supply store, repair shop, whatever. Most people were farmers. And if your plow broke, you took it to the blacksmith. You had a horse and you need shoes, so you go get your horse shoed at the blacksmith. The wagon, the axle breaks, you go to the blacksmith. So you might have a project you're working on, and you need a specialty tool, a wrench of something. The blacksmith could create that for you. And today you need a wrench, you go down to your local hardware store and you're in and out of there in 10 minutes and you have the wrench. So blacksmith was a very important part of the community and a part of the economy, because it was primarily an agriculture-based economy at the time. And yet we don't see blacksmiths anymore. Another interesting one, and this is more prevalent in Ireland and Britain, but there was a job category, or not category, but a job description, a job that was labeled as knocker-ups. And boy, that's kind of hilarious here, because that means something else to us these days. But their job was that, houses were small and they were two-story and people were sleeping up above, and you had to wake up and get up and go to work. But this is before we had alarm clocks. And so there were men that walked around the town with these long, tall cane poles, and they would tap on your window to wake you up, and they would not leave until you waved out the window or opened the window and acknowledged that you were awake, and they'd move on to the next house. And then they invented the alarm clock, and those jobs went away. One of my favorites, since I'm in logistics, is that October 24th, 1861, they sent the first telegram from Sacramento to Washington, D.C., and 3 days later, the Pony Express announced that they were going out of business. Speed and technology eliminated those jobs. And even more current, say, in this century, growing up in the 60s, I remember going shopping with my mom, Aberdeen, South Dakota. Before we had malls, you had department stores, and they were multiple floors, and you took the elevator from one floor to the other, and there was a man, and back then these were all male dominated jobs. But there was a man with a uniform on, and he ran the elevator, and he makes sure that it stopped properly, so that you're not tripping getting it out of the elevator. And somebody came up with, a way to make it more accurate would be to automate it. And the elevator man's job is gone by the wayside. Typesetters for newspapers, that used to be a very manual. They actually had, they had to get all the right sizes, types, everything, and put them all together, be sure the spelling was right and everything. Very important job. And then they came along with computers and technologies. And even today, there's very few newspapers left because we read everything digitally. And those jobs went away. Another really interesting one was, as I was growing up, it was called carryout boys. And it was at a grocery store. You would go check out through the checkout lane. They would bag your groceries, and this boy would pick up the bags of groceries and carry them out to your car for you. It was really kind of an interesting controversy. Then a girl applied for a checkout boy job, and that was like, oh gosh, things are changing. But it became very common, and even to the point where they had a system in place where they would put the bags into a tray, and the tray was numbered, give you the number, you pull your car up by the door, and they put the bags in the car for you. But again, carry out boys or carry out kids, whatever you wanted to call it, is not a job description anymore. And one of the reasons, or the main thing is that as human beings, we have always looked for ways for things to become more convenient, that's less work, faster, and then at some point it was economical. I don't think somebody said, let's invent the computer so we can put the typesetters out of work, but unintended, but that's what happened. Even like the guys that operated the elevators, when they automated it, it was to make it more convenient. But the other is that, hey, we want to be able to reduce our costs. We want the elevators to be quicker. We want them to be safer. And so today, we don't have a problem that we have this bunch of unemployed Pony Express riders, blacksmiths, elevator operators. That's not the issue. The issue is that we're not preparing people for change. We are teaching people to live and think inside the box. And then we're critical of them when they can't think and live outside of the box. But these changes come, and they're inevitable, and some are more dramatic than others. Now, again, that doesn't make it any easier if you're the person that's losing his job today. But we have to help all people realize that we cannot get cornered. We cannot get boxed in to these cocoons of security. It doesn't mean be reckless. It doesn't mean go out and be like we're crazy or something, but we need to be in a position where if something happens, that we're not consumed by fear, that we have opportunities. We have opportunities to learn, though. We don't want to just sit back and rest on what we've already done in life and just say, oh gosh, I don't have to worry about anything because nothing will happen or whatever. Even in my business has gone through many changes, yet we still need truck drivers. We need to get product from point A to point B. But how we're doing it today compared to how we were doing it 15, 20, 30 years ago is all different. And we've had to adapt to that. And there's still the chance that some of the things that we do are going to go away because of the advancement of technology. So what does this mean? Be prepared. And if you're in that position right now, ask for the help that you need and be able to step outside of what's holding you back and be ready for the next opportunity. As always, we love to hear from you. We love to hear what you have to say. Our contact information is on the screen. If you're in the process of worry, if you're in the process of losing a job, our prayers go out to you, and we ask you to find the strength that you need to move on to the next steps. If you're one that's just sitting back and looking at it, realize that what's going on has been going on for centuries and will continue, and let's understand what's happening and why. God bless you all. Have a great day. Goodbye.